We go live to images in Brazil. President-elect Lula da Silva arrived at the Paulista Avenue to greet all his supporters who have come out to celebrate his victory in this Sunday's presidential runoff. We're watching live images from Brazil as the president-elect arrived in Avenida Paulista to join the celebrations with all the supporters, the thousands of supporters that have come out here and celebrate this important victory for Brazil, and not only for Brazil but also for the entire region and the Caribbean. In his acceptance speech a few hours earlier, the now president-elect thanked the Brazilian people for Sunday's presidential runoff. The president-elect called for unity to face the challenges ahead. Lula said the biggest challenge is to rebuild the soul of Brazil, to recover solidarity and respect, as well as the feeling of pride to be Brazilian. President-elect Lula da Silva committed himself and his government to end hunger in the country, as well as extreme poverty. Lula added that his government was going to restore Brazil's credibility and stability. Let's go very quickly over the numbers because the votes are not fully counted yet, but almost, with 99.99% of the votes counted. It is confirmed that Lula wins this presidential runoff with 50.90% of the votes. Bolsonaro reached 49.10%, 99.99% of the votes counted. Lula wins with 50.90%. Different leaders and heads of states and government and of different organizations joined the celebrations in Brazil on Twitter. For example, the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, took to Twitter to congratulate the president-elect of Brazil, Lula da Silva. On Twitter, President Maduro wrote, "We celebrate the victory of the Brazilian people, who on October 30th, they chose Lula da Silva as their new president. Long live the people decided to be free, sovereign and independent. Today in Brazil, democracy triumphed. Congratulations, Lula. A big hug." The president of Bolivia also joined these congratulation messages on Twitter. He wrote, President Luis Arce wrote on Twitter, "Congratulations, brother Lula, President-elect of Brazil. Your victory strengthened democracy and integration in Latin America. We are certain that you will lead the Brazilian people down the path of peace, progress, and social justice." The Cuban president also joined the celebrations. President Miguel Díaz-Canel wrote, "Dear brother Lula, I congratulate you in the name of the Cuban people and government who celebrate your great victory in favor of unity, peace, integration in Latin America and Caribbean. You can always count with Cuba." Let us review very quickly President-elect Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva's background. Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva was born on October 27, 1945, in the town of Virgin Grande, in the northeastern state of Pernambuco, in a family of farmers. In April 1980, Lula was the main leader of a strike of 300,000 workers which lasted 41 days and was harshly repressed, for which he was accused of public disorder. However, the sentence was overturned on appeal after he spent 30 days in prison. Lula was elected president of Brazil on Sunday, October 27th. After defeating José Serra with 61% of the votes and became the first workers' president in the Palace of Alvorada. In a new electoral process, Lula was re-elected on October 1, 2006 with 48.61% of the votes against Social Democrat Geraldo Alckmin. During his 8 years in office, Lula led a program to eradicate poverty and pay off the country's debt with the IMF. In the framework of the Lava Jato operation led by the then Judge Sergio Moro, Lula was arrested in March 2016 without evidence of conviction. The case investigated Petrobras for alleged corruption. After 3 years, Lula regains his freedom due to lack of evidence, which caused the collapse of the case. Let's continue seeing other reactions on Twitter. Former Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa took to Twitter and wrote, "In Brazil, it was shown that the Odebrecht case was used for the political persecution. With the government of Lula, we can demonstrate that in Ecuador it was yet worse. They imprisoned vice president and not even accused Odebrecht." The countdown continues. Argentinian Vice President Cristina Fernández de Kirchner also took to Twitter to congratulate President-elect Lula da Silva. She wrote, "Today more than ever, love and much happiness. Thanks to the people in Brazil. Thanks to partner Lula for returning joy and hope to our South America." Those are among the many Twitter reactions that have come out to congratulate Lula da Silva for his presidential win in today's presidential runoff. Let us remember very quickly the figures, the numbers on the official website of the Supreme Electoral Court. With 99.99% of the votes counted, Lula wins these presidential elections with 50.90% of the votes, and Bolsonaro reached 49.10%. The President-elect of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, in his acceptance speech right after it was official that he had won this Sunday's elections, he thanked the Brazilian people for Sunday's presidential runoff. The President-elect called for unity to face the challenges ahead. Lula said, "The biggest challenge is to rebuild the soul of Brazil, to recover solidarity and respect, as well as the feeling of pride to be a Brazilian." President-elect Lula da Silva committed to end hunger in the country, as well as extreme poverty. Lula added that his government was going to work to restore Brazil's credibility and stability. We are watching live images from Avenida Paulista in Brazil as thousands of people came out to celebrate the victory of Lula da Silva in this presidential runoff.